scarce, the discovery of a fresh water supply just past a hill of significant measure has boosted our efforts. Just a couple of days later, we find ourselves camped beside a sizable growth of sandalwood, of which I estimate to be approximately 30 tons. I know not what lies beyond this point, although the terrain is becoming increasingly sandy in nature. Hard going for the horses and dray, but far easier to clear with our basic tools.
Here's what you've seen so far. We opted to start the Holland Track on a fresh day after stopping overnight at Wave Rock, where I fed you a few history lessons and Jake explained how Wave Rock came to be.
I'm being surfed by Jake, and it became frozen with fear.
Our first day was muddy. So muddy. It was not without drama, as one in our convoy struck 2 flat tyres, and we kicked ourselves back in time with this old bully beef meal. All of what John Holland wrote in his diary awaited us. Nammer holes, the sandalwood camp, and a change of scenery into long sandy stretches were among the more pleasant moments. But if we thought drama struck us hard yesterday, it had nothing on what was to come. That's the hill climb to the top of Mount Holland. It's not too bad of a view. Generally, I don't think you'd class this as a mount. Hey, it's like a mound. It's the size of a molehill, but out here everything's so flat that it's mountainous in comparison. Anyway, interesting fact, where we started, way off out there, probably I'd say 60 k's ago now. So where we started is around where Holland and his party camped. From there to this point took them only 4 days on the back of horses and carving a trail. So 50 or 60 k's in 4 days. And John Holland himself climbed to the top of this hill, stood up on a tree and used it to get a bit of a look out of where he was going to head to next. And he headed straight across the side of it And over the side of this mountain somewhere they found some Nammer holes. They camped there for a few days. We'll go into what a Nammer hole is a bit later in the video. But basically it's a fresh supply of water, so they camped for a couple of days at these Nammer holes, refreshed themselves a little before moving on. Unfortunately, Mount Holland is a little bit burned out, which is why we didn't choose to camp here last night. Would have been windy as hell, but it's quite pleasant now. Since mining has made its way into these parts, the track becomes a little broken up in places. The high-speed gravel is somewhat relieving though, helping us cover some of the distance we didn't make up yesterday. It's pretty incredible how the landscape changes from sparse scrub and sandy track as far as the eye can see, back to red mud and open woodland in an instant. Very challenging terrain for a rookie motorcyclist. You shoe! You giving your horse a drink, John?
Yeah, it was thirsty on that one.
Make sure you put it in the horse's right hole.
Oh no.
Oh, Jake.
So I don't want to catch fire. Your ear's burning.
Is it fresh?
Fresh and she's pretty big. The middle's so that's the difference.
You know, if you feel it with your hands, you can actually get a better feel.
About 2 inches, maybe an inch of mud, and then it's quite
Nice.
solid.
Fan base.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
That's
Not too bad in the
not
middle.
that rutty.
It sounds like Bo hit the clutch and changed gears here, but in fact the wall of water slowed him down to a near stop. Mark took a more steady approach in the 200, although the mud hole had been significantly empty. Mighty fine! Look what he did to me, Johnny Hollands. It was now about time for a lunch stop. This was supposed to be our camp last night. We missed it by a long shot. If you listened carefully to the bit of history at the very start of this video, you will have heard mention of the sizable growth of sandalwood. This is that sandalwood camp, all of which has long ago been stripped. Hey sweetheart.
Hey, you doing?
We were bloody quick to hit the track again. It was becoming possible to move a little quicker as the track opened up and the blind corners became fewer. This is great. Everything is looking on track to hit Thursday Rock before sunset. I hear it's a pretty spectacular camp. For a group of trail bikers though, the idea of taking blind corners slowly seems lost.
We had just stopped for lunch at Sandalwood Rocks, and there was this other convoy, what was it, 2 or 3 4-wheel drives with camper trailers behind them, and we thought they were coming from the north, heading south on the track, but they had actually just come up behind us really quickly. And then we came across the rabbit-proof fence. About the same time we heard these people starting to talk about something interesting, which was just be careful, there's a motorbike came past us really fast. We nearly hit him, and I heard him say 2 other bikes have just come along and they've crashed into the car. And then there wasn't much going on, and then we heard, is there anyone else out on the Holland Track, channel 28? And so I picked up the radio and I said, Roger. And they said, we need help, a rider has hit us and all that sort of thing. And then I thought, oh, here we go, you know. I've responded to this, so we're probably going to have to turn around, because we knew it was those people. Then we realised that they were in front of us and it was up ahead. If we had have left before them, those riders probably would have hit us.
I'm not going to go and film it, obviously. The bloke needs his privacy. He's a bit sore. The best our crew can do is we've lent a bag of ice, a sat phone, we've got a sat phone with us, and a med kit, and we'll sort out where we're going to go from here, but it looks like we're going to be in this position for a fair while. Yeah, we were hoping to make pretty good time up to Thursday Rock, but honestly, if this plays out the way we think it's going to, we're going to be here for a while, and it might be the next available camp for us.
We came across them standing holding a tarp over this person. They were wearing all the protective gear, but he must have hit that bull bar at such speed that it really buggered up his ankle. Even inside these boots, he was wearing all the right gear. You know, we elevated his leg and we took his boot off. We told him it was going to hurt. We told him to squeeze our hands, and we took his boot off. And yep, he was in pain, a lot of pain.
God, we sat here for maybe 50 minutes. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. The kids, they're pretty beat up. We got the sat phone out. We tried calling emergency services, but they reckon they couldn't find our GPS location. Don't know what's going on there. Anyway, we managed to get hold of family. Back about 2 hours at Mount Holland. He's got family waiting with a ute, so they've got one of their other riders that are with him to shoot back down there and bring the ute up here to get him. So the poor kid, he's only 13 years old, with a busted ankle, has to bounce around in a ute to get out of here. But You know, you got to be careful if you're doing that sort of adventure riding somewhere as remote as this. Something goes wrong, you got to think about how much it's going to bloody hurt and how much of a hassle it's going to be to get out. Anyway, the convoy that collided with him are going to move their vehicles off, and we get to carry on, try and find camp. Set up under his tarp there, the kid looked pretty comfy actually. Jake looked him up on Facebook a few days later and sent him a message. The ankle hadn't broken luckily, but his leg was like a bruised banana. We smashed another 50 kilometres out, made a quick stop at the Holland Memorial Park to sign the visitor book, and we're still on track to make Thursday Rock just after dark. There you go, Ronnie.
Hey, Jake.
Ronnie was here. And Graham had his snatch out. At one point, we encountered a fallen dead tree. Time to get a taste for how hard the fellas worked clearing this track by hand. This tree had been here a while. Previous vehicles have gone around through the bush. We decided to move it off the track to prevent further vehicle damage to the surrounds, but also because the firewood was needed. Eventually, the bad luck caught us again. 20 kilometres from Thursday Rock, and my face says it all. We are in trouble.
You said they're both shredded?
Roger.
Time is 5:10 in the evening. We got held up by the motorbike accident earlier. We've been headed for Thursday Rock. I've pushed ahead a little way. I think I'm probably about 3 k's ahead of Steve, Mark and Taylor. Trying to get ahead to Agnes Namathole so that I can tell you guys about Namaholes. We've just heard Steve over the radio. It's got a flat.
Yeah.
And then it advanced to having 2 flats. Now it's advanced to both the tyres are shredded. We've got 2 shredded tyres and 1 spare. So we're going to have to get very creative on how we make this car move. I think we're going to be camping wherever Steve is stuck. Maybe popping those tyres off and filling them full of shrubbery or something. Anyway, we're going to have to head back there. That's it for progress for today.
Alright, how do we strap these bad boys down?
It's 25k where we are.
Steve is unloading all his camping gear to throw in Mark's 200 series, leaving the Landrover here and coming a few kilometres down the track to Krakauer Rock, where we have decided to set up camp for the night and sink some proper thought into our dilemma.
I mean, we're not that far from town, are we? In reality.
Well, in reality, yeah, but it's a slow drive,
it's
man.
But
The drive is probably the length from She Oak Rock to here again,
what one was Sherlock Rock?
where we stopped for lunch.
Shit.
As Taylor suggested, we left a note having decided what we would do about this situation. Much to everybody's confusion who passed the vehicle, we wrote a return to vehicle date of Monday. Steve didn't return for an entire week, and the vehicle was just how he left it. Stories have fed back to me from people who saw it sitting out there and checked up on the situation. Good on you, people. Boy, was it nice to set up camp and crack a beer after that day. We all agreed that this was our favourite camp, I think. Steve and Mark had finalised a plan to move on with the sunrise the following day, backtracking to Mount Holland, where the mine access road could take them to the highway, and back to Perth from there to get new tyres. Once again, I was cooking an old-time feast tonight for the lads. It's been a bloody long day on the tracks, and this big lump of meat here is a corned silverside. That's what I'm going to cook for dinner tonight. The reason for corned silverside is because this is what the pioneers would have eaten a lot when the goldfields were being opened up. We're lucky enough to be cooking and eating it fresh tonight. They wouldn't have been so lucky. They would have corned their meat as soon as they got it from the bushes and would have been like a salted beef, so huge amounts of salt to preserve it and make it last a bit longer. They would have got about a week out of it maybe, unrefrigerated. By the end of that week, it was going to be starting to taste pretty rancid. So I'll just quickly touch on this recipe. All we're chucking in is an onion. I've also rinsed the corn silver side, just rinsed all the blood and juices off it. Okay, entire onion. It's supposed to be brown sugar. I forgot the brown sugar, so it's going to be white. So we go for a tablespoon of sugar. Legit. Pickling spice. You'll have to bring that along with you. Contains all sorts of spices. A tablespoon of that. Your vinegar, a quarter cup. Oh, that's probably about a cup there. What's left in that? Yeah, it looks good. Get some water and fill up the pot until the meat is fully submerged. I could have harnessed the humidity from the air faster than this. Taylor, could you dig out your barbie plate so we can sit this on there? Thanks, mate. That's gonna do it. Okay, the rule of thumb is 30 minutes per 500 grams, plus another 30 minutes. Well, that's nearly a 2 kilo silverside, so that's 2.5 hours. It's currently 7 o'clock. It's going to be a late dinner. Let's get that on the fire. You don't really need to have the heat from the top because you can do this on the stove top at home. So we're just going to pop it down on the barbecue plate. Just let the heat go at it from the bottom, slowly simmer away. Okay, I'll bring you an update when we have dished it up. So I'm tired. I'm going to go and sink a few more bevies.
Well, seeing as I know your parents and they're fine, upstanding fellows of society, I'm going to give you a challenge rather than a sentence. You got to come back to me on Monday morning after the weekend and tell me how many people you convert into a non-drinking driving policy. Okay, yeah, no trouble, just out they go like a rocket. Monday morning comes round. I drew a small circle and a large circle. And I said the small circle is a sun.
Yet again, I'm suffering from a cold, so I've lost my voice a little bit. I'm going to carve this silver side. Oh, Bo tries to drop my carrots. Ah, it's nuclear. Okay. They didn't have tongs in 1893.
What a great spread.
Right?
How good is that? Yeah. That's the way to do it. Oh, merci. Oh shit, that's hot.
And here I am cutting it with my bare hands. So you feel
Oh,
that,
yeah.
Laura?
Oh, hello. I didn't see you there.
So there you go. That's what you eat if you're in 1893. Salted beef. Guarantee you what they were eating didn't taste nearly as good as that. That's pretty good. We're going to eat this. We're going to go to bed because tomorrow we've got to shoot out to Coolgardie, Kalgoorlie, possibly even back to Perth, which is a 6-hour drive, to get tyres for Steve's Landy, which is stuck on the side of the track up there. But it's all good in the name of adventure. At this point we have lost Mark and Steve. Back to Perth to sort the Landy out with some new tyres. We have a few hours left to finish the track before a pub meal in Coolgardie and dropping Sam off for the train back to Perth. But first, and finally, I get to tell you about Namaholes. Here we are finally at Agnes Namahole. Now, John Holland and his party came through here obviously, and they named this after John Holland's wife, Agnes. She later became the first woman, presumably, to travel the Holland Track through to Coolgardie, Fly Flat as it was known at the time. And she was a bit of a sucker for firsts, so she also became the first woman to die on the goldfields. She succumbed to typhoid fever. I think it was a couple of years after that. Unfortunate, but there you go, the Agnes Namahole. Okay, so there's your Namahole. It's an Aboriginal word, obviously. Nama starts with a G, G-N-A-M-M-A, Namahole. Some of them that were naturally occurring, that was basically their word for like a water source in rock. I believe these were artificially created by the Aborigines. And the way they did that was they light their campfire on top of the rock, heats the rock up, and then obviously as the rock cools again, it cracks, and they pull the pieces of granite out of the hole. Okay, so they kept doing that again and again and removing bits of granite until it created this hole. Also, there's a lot of rock pools around on this rock, so what they would have done to help crack the rock and speed the process was throw a bit of water on it afterwards. Then there's some big granite slabs here. They placed that over the top to slow down the evaporation and to keep larger animals out. And they would have placed a stick coming up out of the hole so as if smaller creatures like lizards fell in, they'd be able to climb out instead of drowning in there and spoiling the water. Unfortunately, these aren't so deep. People have come and thrown rocks in there to test the depth and whatnot. But they would have kept these things nice and clear, dug them out, kept all the mud out of them so as there was maximum water volume for them. There's the boys. Sam catches the train back to Perth in about an hour. And Jake, Bo, me, Taylor, we are all heading on deeper into the goldfields. So, the usual business, you know, if you've enjoyed watching, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and
Get on that shit.
get on it. Look out for the next series that we post up, going further out into the goldfields. We're going to explore some old towns and mine shafts and all that sort of business. And later on do the Woodlines track. Thanks for watching.